Hello, it's Stella from Earth Lovers Oracle. Um, Today I'm going to do a little reading, a sort of a Native American style. What I aim to do is do a cross section of oracle card readings over time, and I want that to reflect a little bit about me because my background is, for sort of nearly 30 years, I studied natural medicine, astrology, colour healing, crystal healing, feng shui, and biophilic design, and also I have an abiding interest in shamanism, which is very much to do with Native American way of life. So today I'm using Denise Linn's cards called Native Spirits, and they are really beautiful. The Native American people were and continue to be very connected to nature, and because I feel now is the time, this is called Earth Lovers Oracle. It's all about the earth for me, and ways that we can connect with it, because it's sort of a very important time. So I've prepared a little altar today, or a little focal point, and I've used some colour bottles with the colours that I associate with Native Americans. And we have the vibrant orange, the earthy brown, and the turquoise and brown. They're very much their colours. And also there is a medicine wheel with the cardinal directions, signified by colour. And then we have some crystals or some stones that are typical of the culture, like very earthy, very grounding stones. We have black tourmaline, we have jasper, smoky quartz, to name but a few of the crystals here. And because it's like a very grounding focus, as opposed to something angelic, which would obviously be very, very much towards the skies and above. So I've drawn 3 cards today, and quite interestingly, the first card is the Spirit Keeper of the North, and the second is the Spirit Keeper of the East. So I've got 2 quite big cards here. It's similar to having major arcana cards if you're using the tarot. The Native Americans use the cardinal directions, and quite a lot of practices do. North, south, east and west, and the 4 subdirections, and they all relate to something, to a lot of wisdom. They're not just like pointing in a direction. So the Spirit Keeper of the North, if we look at the cards, the card is very much about, bring it a little more into focus for you, but it's sort of like nighttime. If you see, the moon is out, there's snow on the ground, and it's a very quiet time. It's a time for self-illumination, really. It's quiet and introspection. It's really a time where we can go within ourselves to find a solution to any problems. And actually, because we have at this point in time, been in the lockdown, I don't like to call it that, but that's actually what it's been. In a way, we've had the time to look at things from a different perspective, and it could be that we're giving a lot more thought to things, and we might hopefully be getting more rest and be getting more insights because of that. So I just want to read a little bit of what Denise Linn says in the book. It's the Spirit Keeper of the North is about introspection. It's the time from midnight to 6 o'clock in the morning. It's sort of like the quiet, darkest time when the world goes to sleep, in a sense. And it encourages you to take contemplation and turn within, connect to your ancestors, incubate ideas, mend relationships, and also, you know, mend anything that's actually broken in your home. And I'll explain a little bit about that later. Also, there is the thing of retracing one step and forgiving people if you feel that you can, for situations that have dragged you down. You know, maybe you've had a falling out with someone or a bad breakup, and maybe there is a possible bridge to go over, and in forgiveness there is a sort of a release in energy, so you feel relieved, but obviously you have to feel that you genuinely want to do this. It's again quite interesting because a few days ago we had the dark of the moon, and this first card is very much reflecting that introspection that you know, every month the moon does a full cycle, and it, from going from the full moon right the way down, it gets to the dark of the moon, where actually you obviously can't see anything in the sky apart from stars, but the moon is absolutely sort of disappears for a day or so once a month, and that is all about introspection. And so the next card we have is the Spirit Keeper of the East, and I'll just draw that card up to give you a better view. In this card we have a picture of sunrise, and you know, the sunrise is very different from dusk. It's that very pale lemon colour that comes up, and sometimes you get glorious sunrises depending on how cloudy it is or what time of year it is, but always there is that idea of fresh hope, you know, that it's like we've gone out of the darkness into the light again. The direction of east is very much ruled by air element, and whereas the north is about earth, and you know, being in one's little hibernating cave, feeling safe, and the east direction is about mental activity. It's sort of the way that the wind breezes through. It's about things passing through, stimulation, seeds of ideas, and you know, it's like the dawn rises and another day is here to give us hope, and within each day there is hope, and you know, we hope that we get, at this time of day, we're more likely to get seeds of inspiration. So you might like to try, if you have if your bedroom is facing east, or if there is a room in the house facing east and it doesn't inconvenience anyone else, you might like to sit in that area just for a little while to experience sunrise, because it actually feels amazing. There's a very refreshing, hopeful energy about it. And so the Spirit of the East is about wiping the slate clean. You know, every day could be a fresh start. No matter what's happened before, it doesn't have to be the same. Like from one day to the next, it can be very different. And in native traditions, the directions are honoured. You know, the north, south, east and west, as I spoke about, they have an energy and an element attached to them. And the Native Americans believe that there is a spirit energy guarding each direction that one can communicate with. So the east is the place of the rising sun, associated with springtime, birth, the waxing moon, and again, the moon has just started to wax or come up, you know, with the start of the new cycle. So really it's speaking very much about what's happening now in lunar cycles. And, you know, it's time to begin something differently, to change your routine. And before you do this, because quite a good thing to do is, because it's linked into air elements, and air element kind of rules the lungs, is to breathe, to get to breathe and center yourself, and that relaxes you, and then you can sort of feel the inspiration come to you, because it will, if you give it enough time and space, that the enthusiasm of the East will come to you. And it could be, you know, that you have an inspiration to write something down, you have a new idea, you just want to do something differently. So I think they're lovely cards to have. And then the third card that came out of the pack this morning was Song of the Wild. And again, I'll bring that nearer to you just so that you can see. There we go. And this is really, it's sort of like of a prairie land, and there's a rainbow in the background, and there are a few clouds, but with the rainbow there and the sun bursting through, there is a feeling, it's like of newness, but of wildness as well. There's a time-honoured feel about the Song of the Wild. So I'll just pop that back into the reading. And I do apologise if you can hear a train running, because it's so quiet. Because of the lockdown, the trains are really emphasised. I'm actually recording this from my art studio, but where I have my inspiration, where I do my recordings, and it is quite lovely because the birds are singing outside, but you know, there is the odd train coming through, so we have to find the humour in that. So the Song of the Wild, if we see what Denise Linn has to say about that. New horizons await you. You're ready to savour the wonders of the world. Take some risks. Answer the call of the wild. Step out of your comfort zone. Live passionately. Take steps in the direction of freedom. Expand your limitations. It may be time to start a new journey or do something exciting. Well, in a way, we are restricted at the moment to actually sort of travelling miles and miles, but you can start any plans for things in your mind, because the time will come where there is more liberty to move more freely. But it could also be saying that, you know, in your local environment there are places that you may not have explored. There may be walks that you've never been on, and you would really appreciate them if you do that. It would give you a sense of expansion, but within your local area, that you don't have to go that far. And the other area would be from your mind, that, you know, you might want to start learning a new course, you know, something you've always wanted to learn, to do webinars, to link up with people that way, because you can actually see them, and then you are with like-minded people no matter where they are in the world, which is quite incredible. So you know, again, there's lots, it's sort of saying that there's lots to plan, lots to look forward to, and also to spend time in the wildness of nature. And you know, now we are allowed to go out for walks, we are allowed to go where nature is, so you can actually, you know, totally explore that and look at it with new eyes. I also drew a fourth card, which I'll put in front of you, the card of ancestors. It has come up with the other cards, and I'm very fond of that. And you see the cards here, it's like a stone circle of boulders, but they look like they could be people. It's sort of like it could be like a medicine wheel. It could look like Glastonbury without the top on it, but it's like an ancient monument. And the thing with our ancestors, I'm just going to pop the card back there, is that we have a great connection with them. We know that we may know one or two or maybe even three of our generations back of people who may have passed on, possibly even more if you've done a family ancestry. And some people unfortunately don't know their ancestors, which is a shame, but it is something to draw. It's like a strength to draw on. And the Native Americans are very, very big on their ancestors, of giving them giving wisdom to them from the place of spirit, and that they're ever alive even though they're on another plane. So if you could put that into your awareness. And another thing you might like to do is if you have pictures of ancestors that you knew, or ones where you look at the picture and it intrigues you because you look quite similar to them, you could actually put them, make yourself a little altar. And really an altar it can be something very simple. It's like a little space where you go there quite often, and you have deep thoughts. Like you might have a picture of somebody that you love on there, an ancestor that you love, or a family group, and maybe some inherited little artifacts that you have and things that are very personal to you. And by going to that space, there is this kind of continuity, even because probably you would remember, like if your parents have passed on and your grandparents, you have memories of them. But photographs help to keep people alive, and the ones that you never met, it actually brings them into your awareness. So I think that's a lovely thing that people do, and I would recommend, if you feel called to do so, to do just that. It's funny talking about family trees and ancestors. Some people have their ancestry analysed, their DNA analysed, to see where they come from if they don't know, and these DNA tests will tell you of the regions in the world that you come from, and there may be even slight ones that you if you don't know back beyond sort of 3 or 4 generations, where they may have come from Europe or from Africa. It's entirely fascinating. And what I find particularly fascinating is that just because if you have the same mother and father, it doesn't mean you have the same DNA. You're very individual, and somehow the DNA is pulled from a line of your ancestors, random things. And you may have seen that sort of in your family, where you say, oh, so-and-so smiles and it reminds me of my great-grandmother, or so-and-so has that personality or that character trait, and that may even stem way back. But it's we're all such individuals. And if say twins had a DNA test, where you actually put your saliva in a container and they scientifically run many tests on it, no 2 results would be the same. Say one half might be, you'd be aware because of your mother and father's nationality, but for instance, say if one of them might be 60% European, one of the tests will come back as 60% European and maybe 30% English. Say there's a cross between a European and an English person, and for the other sibling it may be just 40% and then 35% the other way, and then pulling in something else like sort of from Denmark or from Russia. It's just so interesting what the cellular memory of what we take genetically, which makes us who we are, not just physically but on an emotional, intellectual and a soul level. It's a really fascinating subject, and to me this links in with ancestors. So anyway, so I think that is a lovely reading for today. Also, I have on my altar a little white buffalo, and it's called an animal fetish. It's hand carved, and what it is about the symbol of the butterfly. Sorry, the buffalo in animal medicine is a sign of abundance, because when Native Americans used to hunt them, and there used to be a vast plain of white buffalo, and it obviously changed the more the Americans came along, but obviously with the Native Americans, they used to hunt the buffaloes, and they used to utilize every single part of the animal. They used the skin to wear, they used to eat all every parts of the flesh, and then they used to use the bones to boil up to make gel, maybe certain medicines. So they held the animal in reverence. So the white buffalo is all about abundance, and it's all about gratitude, because the more gratitude you have, even for the simple things you have, the more actually abundance you attract in your life. So I love that symbol, and I to me it's very Native American. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this reading, and I will be back soon. All right, take care, bye bye.